Join me today while I show you how to make a delicious peach crostata. Simple and easy to make and just in time for summer. Stay tuned. Hello friends and welcome back. If you're new to my channel, my name is Andrea and this is Dessert First. So today I am making a peach crostata. Now a crostata is the same as a galette, just crostata is Italian, galette is French. Here in the States I see this done as like a rustic tart, although as I explained in the galette recipe that a tart is typically made with a pan, so whether it's an actual dish or one that has a bottom like a ring, so most tart pans have a ring with a bottom that comes out, that is traditionally what a tart is, but I see it referred to as a rustic tart. But we're going to call this one a crostata because that's what it is. Typically it's used with regular pie dough, but I am going to make it with my kringle dough. So I already have that chilled because I have to make it a day ahead. So the recipe, I'll link it up here. It's in the Baking 101 playlist, so you'll want to check that out. If you don't have time for that, you can always just use regular pie dough as well. So all right, let's get started. All right, so I have washed, peeled, and sliced 3 peaches, and I just put them in this bowl here. They were all about this size, so about almost baseball size. So you're looking at about 2 pounds roughly. As long as you have some decent sized peaches, 2 or 3 or 4 depending, will be perfectly fine for this. So in this bowl I'm going to add 1/4 of a cup of regular granulated sugar and a pinch of salt, and I think I'm going to go with a couple of teaspoons of cinnamon. So there's 1. Let's see how that looks. Let's go with 2. Okay. Let's go here. Just gonna mix that in. And then we're gonna add some nutmeg. So if you have the fresh nutmeg, I would encourage you to use that. So this nutmeg I have had for several years, this jar. So, and I just use out of it, see I've got a piece here that's got just a tiny bit left on it. It gets really hard to grate once it gets down to that size. But I've got one here that I've been working on. So I want about 1/4 teaspoon, but we're gonna eyeball it. So if you want to actually measure it, just put a dish down here and grate it. I'm just going to go this way. So this is the grater I'm using. A lot of times I'll use this for like Parmesan cheese or Romano cheese. It just gets you a very fine grate. So you just want to be really careful not to get your fingers in there. So, and I can see it as it's hitting my spatula there. I just find that this freshly ground nutmeg just has so much more flavor in aroma, whereas you just don't get that in the ground nutmeg. But if you don't have this and you have ground, you can totally use that. So you can see it's mostly hit, so that's pretty close to about 1/4 of a teaspoon. So we're just going to mix that in there. And then we're going to add some cornstarch because our peaches are going to create quite a bit of liquid. At least you hope so. So that's 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. And then I'm just going to take our peaches, I'm just going to dump them in there. And we're just going to toss these. We just want to try to coat them. I would probably not use canned peaches, only for the simple fact that they have so much liquid in them. You would have to add quite a bit of cornstarch just to get that to thicken up, and they just don't have the same structure as a fresh peach would have, or flavor. So if you can, definitely use fresh if at all possible. And you can see that the little bit of salt and the sugar is starting to really draw out the peach juice from the peaches. So we're going to set that aside, and we're going to get our dough rolled out. So I'm just going to sprinkle some all-purpose flour here. All right, and we're just going to use half of the Kringle dough recipe for this. And I happen to have a half right here. And just because we only use half, you could make 2 of these, especially if you were like going to a family function or something. You could make 2 different kinds of crostatas, 2 different flavors if you wanted. Or you could just use the other half of the Kringle dough and make Kringles. So I'm just gonna flatten that a little bit. And we're gonna get some more flour on there. Now I have my oven preheated to 350 degrees, and I have a sheet tray lined with parchment paper. And we just want to roll this out in kind of a circle. Right now it's still a square, but that's okay. The beautiful thing with this is you don't have to have it perfect. It's supposed to have a little bit of that rustic, homemade feel to it. This dough is extremely delicate, so as soon as it starts to warm up, it will tear very easily. Okay, we're about there, so let's see. You're not looking to roll it super thin, but you don't want too thick edges either, so. Okay, so we're just going to try and roll this over like you would a pie dough. And I'm going to try to wipe this out of the way. I'm just going to roll it on there, just like that. And it's okay that's hanging over. All right, and we're just gonna take our peaches and we're just gonna dump them in the center. And you could, if you wanted, to lay out every single peach in a nice little orderly fashion. That's gonna take a lot of time and be kind of messy since we have our spices on here and our sugar. So, but I'm not looking for something quite that organized, so we're going to just do it this way because it's much faster. And now we're just going to take our edges and we're just going to kind of fold it in a little bit, like so. Super simple. We have a little extra there. We'll just pop it there. All right, we're almost done. So I've got one egg that I've whisked, and then I just did a splash of milk in this. We're just going to give it a brushing here. Okay, and then we are going to sprinkle that with some coarse raw sugar. Turbinado sugar would be another term. So we're just going to sprinkle that. And then we'll just throw some right there in the center. Whoops, looks like we might have missed a little bit. Right there. All right. I'm going to bake this in a 350-degree oven for about 30 to 35 minutes. And then I'll be back to show you what it looks like. All right, our peach crostata is out of the oven. I've let this cool down for about 30 to 45 minutes. I did go ahead and bump that heat up to 375 just to get this crust a little more golden. You could have got there at 350, but you were gonna have to leave it in for quite a while, and I was impatient. So you can just start out at 375 and you should be good. So I am off to a family function, and I'm gonna take this and we're going to enjoy this with some ice cream. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you'd like to see more, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Go ahead and hit the notification bell so you know when I'm going to drop a new video, and go ahead and like it and share it. So until next time, friends.